So essentially the next topic is, what are we looking forward to Dragon's Teeth? Now, Dragon's Teeth is supposed to be right around the corner. Supposed to be. And I say supposed to be because we saw this train wreck for Naval Strike, and yeah, exactly, we've been saying this for a couple of months now. You know, and what are we really looking forward to? I'm going to kick it off with Flaming this time, because Billy dropped the first bomb on our recent topic before this. So what do you think? What's your really most #1 wanted thing for Dragon's Teeth to produce?
My favourite thing at the moment, I'm just going to have to stop you a second. Some ad on my laptop's playing, it's kind of annoying. Right, sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, I say Desert Eagle Pistol is something I'm really looking forward to.
The Deagle.
The Deagle, Beagle 2, I can imagine all the, nicknames.
The puns that this is going to get.
Yeah, 1D, 1D. I believe X Factor's got the 1D, I think it's a Counter-Strike play on or something. Anyway, yeah, that pistol looks absolutely amazing. It could replace my beloved Magnum. I'd also say I really like the look of the new maps. Like, new maps, I mean, a few screenshots I've seen and the descriptions, they do look, I mean, I'm a massive fan of urban maps. Like, Grand Bazaar and Battlefield 3 is my favourite map in that game. Ooh. So, if they can make a map half as good as that, I would be really happy. And that is what I'm really looking forward to.
Billy? What's your most desired thing about this DLC that we've been waiting for shall we say, some time?
Well, I guess the first thing that I should point out is that, just to go off what Pete was talking about, I would happily play with the D in Dragon's Teeth. I already like to play with the D, so, that's fine. But no, honestly, I'm looking forward to a gold camo on the Deagle. And I'm looking forward to getting my XXX YOLO Swagnum on.
YOLO Swagnum. And, 420 blaze it, quick
scope, no scope. Billy?
Yeah,
am I sensing some serious truth here?
No, he's
honestly,
he's not about
I
that
don't know.
life.
I mean, I'm hoping for some good maps. I mean, for instance, anyone watching the stream would realise that we're currently playing Rush on Naval Strike,
We'll talk about that later, Billy. We'll talk about that later, because this is something we want to point out.
I just want to point out that, basically, with Dragon's Teeth, hopefully, we can get some maps in Dragon's Teeth that actually, make us fall in love with different game modes again. I mean, for example, with Rush Naval Strike, until this week, I really hadn't played this game mode, and, I really like it. So hopefully, what I'm most looking forward to is new maps that make me basically fall in love with this game all over again.
Well, for me, Dragon's Teeth is something... Now, my opinion on this is quite controversial sometimes, and one of my favourite maps in this game is actually Flood Zone. It's Flood Zone.
Oh, no.
And, some people look at me and they're like, why do you like Flood Zone? It's like, that map is terrible. And for me, it's just the urban combat. The roofs, the rooftops, and the general scenery for Flood Zone, for me, I really personally enjoy it. I love the fact that you can practically tear through little fences and sheds. That's something that I really did like. And retrospectively speaking, I just want to make sure that Dragon's Teeth is that balance that we need, because we found, for example, in Battlefield 3, if it was Bad Company 3, we probably wouldn't be playing Battlefield 4 right now. In Battlefield 3, Close Quarters was a failure. Close Quarters, for me, just did not cut it. It was not what I was expecting when they said Close Quarters combat. And for Dragon's Teeth, they renamed this. They changed their wording ever so slightly, and they said, we're doing urban combat. And when I first saw that screenshot, now bearing in mind this was the floating restaurant. What map was that called again? I believe it was.
I think it was Lumphini Garden. I think they said it
was.
No.
I think it was Sunken Dragon. That must have been.
Oh yeah,
it must have been it. Sunken Dragon, and they showed us a screenshot of freaking a restaurant that could be sunk. And, there's a ton of water around it. And, you've just got to think of the implications that has. For starters, it's not going to be, every single map is going to be a complete clusterfuck where we just basically sit into a room, shoot, and all of these things blow up, which essentially was what Close Quarters did. We're seeing some serious urban combat. We're seeing some tactics. And I feel as though, Dragon's Teeth can bring these tactics to the table. It can make the game a bit more competitive, make it a bit more pleasing for squads who work well together. And, you know, like Billy said, bringing modes, you know, bringing love back to modes. I can see Dragon's Teeth being incredibly successful with the Obliteration mode. And I haven't touched Obliteration in a while. I can see how potential map design could change that. And like we said right now, we're on Rush on Naval Strike. And, you know, I'd never tried this before until last week. We all just, you know, randomly said, okay, let's give this a go. And it turns out it's really enjoyable. You know, it's completely underplayed, but it's really damn good. So, you know, for me, Dragon's Teeth just has to have great map design. I want to see some good guns. I really do. We know what guns we're getting. I just want to see how they're going to end up actually being like. Because so far, it feels as though every single DLC weapon that we've gotten has been completely inadequate.
Except for the SR338.
Yeah, I honestly don't feel as though there's a DLC weapon that I would play with consistently.
What about the AWS?
What about
the
Gold Magnum, fair enough, possibly. But the AWS, you know, I don't like the AWS, to be honest with you. I don't like the barrel. I just don't like the barrel to the gun.
Oh, it's the barrel.
I really hate the barrel of the gun. It really puts me off a bit. It sounds really pathetic, but the look of the gun just, I don't know.
God.
It just stops me. It just stops me from playing with it. And, you know, I just want to see... I personally like the look of the new Bulldog assault rifle, or I think that's...
The Bulldog does look pretty
yeah, that looks
swag.
pretty beastly. That really
all
does.
All I have to say about the Bulldog is, I mean, the Bulldog, for anyone watching who doesn't actually know, is an M14 that a company called SRSS...
We've got the text.
We've got the text happening again.
We've got the text incoming. Whenever you hear that noise, we may as well just point this out. If you ever hear that noise,
that wasn't me. I don't think. I'm just vibrating, but it's in my genes. That's not possible.
So yeah, basically the Bulldog, for anyone watching, is actually an M14 DMR or battle rifle, I should say.
Really?
That a company called SRSS. They're basically a company in America that customizes M14s and puts them inside a polymer frame. And the frame is actually a bullpup design frame. So basically what they're doing is they're taking the M14, which is a rifle that was designed in the 1950s, and essentially still basically the design of the M39. And what they do is they take that weapon and they rehouse it in a polymer bullpup frame, and then give it a fully automatic mode. And when I say give it a fully automatic mode, the M14 already actually has a fully automatic mode, but for the last probably 30-40 years, the American military hasn't used that mode. So essentially what they're doing is they're taking the M14 back to what it used to be and putting inside a bullpup housing, which is pretty interesting because it makes me think that this thing, well, the entire reason that they took out the automatic mode to begin with is the recoil. So I'm thinking that this gun is probably going to be one of the highest recoil guns in the game. It's essentially an M39.
Have you seen the stats, Billy?
Have you seen the statistics for it?
No, I haven't.
Relatively speaking, the gun really does not possess that much recoil.
Really?
At all.
It just has a big
there you go.
Scar H. It's about I think it's 0.55 or something ridiculous. But
yeah,
it's
see,
really not
that's
that
something
much.
I find interesting, considering that the M39 is the highest recoil DMR in the game, and yet this gun is pretty much the same gun, fires in fully auto and has less recoil. So
yeah, well,
I don't know what's going on
It's
there.
interesting to say because you know, some people were making weapon reviews of the guns because they came out on the CTE, and you know these were really. I've got to admit, you know, no disrespect to the guys who did this, but that was a really terrible idea because the gun is supposed to be completely reworked in the CTE.
Exactly,
the whole reason
is to test it.
Yeah, the whole reason is to test it and make sure
change.
it's not OP when it comes out on the vanilla version of the game or when the DLC drops. You know. That's something they really, you know, really need to look into. But somebody mentioned in the chat. This came from Tyler. I'm going to say Krokowski. I really don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize.
Krawski.
Tyler Krawski. We're going to run with that. And basically, he just said that he hopes that there are a lot of Easter eggs in Dragon's Teeth. Now, I gotta throw my sort of 2 cents into this. Now, I made a video ages back, a complete shot in the dark about a nuke in Battlefield 4, a nuclear bomb being in Battlefield 4, and I was expecting this to go nowhere, and it did incredibly well in the end. Lots of people really latched onto the theory, and all of a sudden, they posted the dog tags for Dragon's Teeth, and there was a freaking mushroom cloud in 2 of them. A mushroom cloud in 2 of the dog tags. Now, a lot of people may not know, you know, you may not follow us very well, but myself and lots of the BFonPS4 guys, Billy and Flaming, not really so much into it, we do a lot of Easter egg hunting. When we get the chance, when we get the leads, when we get the theories, we really go for it. We really give it a go. We go into, you know, serious lengths. We spend a good couple of hours on maps just trying to find some Easter eggs. And that's basically what's going to happen again when this DLC drops. You know, it's got to happen. Yeah. I need that nuke. I need that nuke to exist, and I need to damn find it.